it is. It's podcast day. We're excited. Be digging out there. What have we got? Ooh, yes, absolutely.
Dude, it's fucking podcast day.
Takes you back to that time of when you remember what you were doing when you first listened to that album, or
What is going on, you champions? That's right. Yes.
What up?
Podcast day. Two dudes talk music. Yes, it is. I've been stewing on this shit all day.
What is going on?
Yes.
It's that time. It's that time. Podcast time. Yeah, spill the beans, man. Spill the beans. We want it. We want this, the exclusive details.
How we doing, everybody? It is podcast day. That's right. Everyone's favorite day of the week. It's Thursday night, or as I like to sometimes call it, Friday Junior. But let's get it on. So today we have, normally we would be Kyle and myself here doing a little bit of back and forth, a little bit of bants before we get into it. Slightly different format today because circumstances are a little bit different, but here we go. So just before we get into the interview today, I just want to give a massive shout out to local band Smokeout and CJ. Make sure if you are not already paying attention to them guys, you get over there, follow them on social media. If you're in a band, submit your videos. They play like local bands on the reg. Try and get the promotion out there on them. So definitely submit that one. Shout out to CJ, massive legend. Reminder as well, if you are going to be up at Gymna Rocks 2023 this coming weekend, Kyle will be there. He'll be running around like a madman with a beer in one hand and a camera in the other, so make sure you say hi. We actually have him from his car today because he's making his way up, so that'll be a good one. And yeah, just another one as well while we're talking about Gymna. Once again, big congrats to Bones from Disgust, who was the lucky winner of our Gymna Rocks 2023 double pass. So keep an eye out for him, both at Gymna and maybe on an upcoming podcast, because, you know, we never know what's going to be coming up soon. But anyway, I think it's time that we get to today's guest. Now, today we have an incredibly talented band out of Sydney. They are a 5-piece. We have 3 out of the 5 of them. This is a band that if you haven't been paying attention, you really, really should. They are called AURATEQUE. They are doing some amazing stuff, mashing up and blending a few different kind of genres together really, really seamlessly, and it works really, really well. So without further ado, let's get to the good stuff. Let's get them on. AURATEQUE, guys, how you doing? Am I saying that name right? Is that the correct pronunciation?
Yeah, that is correct.
That is the correct pronunciation. I'm very impressed. Actually, I'm...
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. And of course, yeah, Kyle there in his car, lit up by brake lights.
What's going on, everybody? What is going on the way to Gymna? How are we all? How are you, legends?
Awesome.
Brilliant.
Feeling
It's
great.
good. I actually got a little bit of a chance to mull over your stuff. I'm one of those people that obviously quite clearly hasn't been paying attention, and now you have my undivided attention. I am listening.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean,
good.
that's one of the things that you know, I got to say, like, and you know, I had seen your name pop up, and obviously, like, I reached out to you about doing the podcast, and thank you first of all for agreeing to come on and do the podcast. I know organizing band members for anything is a bit of a hassle. I speak from plenty of personal experience. Kyle knows that himself. So the dramas that come with trying to get all your band members doing the same thing at the same time. But
Unless it's a show.
Organizing
Thank you.
people in general, like, especially when it's like a big project, is always such a nightmare. But yeah, thank you so much for the invite. Yeah, love to be here.
yeah, and so look, I'm really excited. Like, I went and listened to the material, the 2 songs you guys have got out, Paradigm and Hurricane, which obviously Hurricane you guys just dropped. The video for that is incredible, by the way. I love the production value on that, and the production value on the songs is really, really impressive as well. I love seeing when bands come out of the gate with really, really strong production straight away, which is a lot easier to do these days than it was even 10 years ago, right?
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna guess you guys have done music with other acts prior to AURATEQUE.
Yeah, absolutely. We all come into this project with experience in previous projects, which definitely helped us kind of get it right from the get go.
That's what I found too. Like, if you can come in, and you've got a bit of that before, it definitely helps you to know what to avoid and where to sort of put your focus. What bands was it previously that you guys were in, if you don't mind me asking?
So me and Lauren we actually used to be in a new metal band called Scarborough. Yeah, we started that project in 2017, and we played shows kind of all around Sydney. And then that band, as we kind of progressed, transformed into kind of like the proto AURATEQUE, which evolved into what we are now in AURATEQUE. And yeah, Luke, did you want to give an introduction on your old band?
Yeah, all right. So in late 2015, I joined a metalcore band called Burial at Sea, based on the Central Coast where I'm from. And we played countless shows throughout Newcastle, the Central Coast, and Brisbane. We even went up in Sydney. Yeah, we went up to Brisbane once in I think it was late 2017 or something like that. And then we actually rebranded. We announced that we're breaking up to try and build a little bit of hype. And then, yeah, we came back as Anon. We released the new single then. Previously, we'd released a whole EP. Yeah, released that single and then a second EP in 2020. And then about a year and a half ago now, my time in that band was over. A few months later, I ran to Matt and Lauren, telling my situation. And that night, Lauren's in my DM saying, "Yo, you played with us before. I played in Scarborough for a few shows."
Yeah, there's a bit of a story there.
And yeah, here we are now.
Okay, wonderful. Love that. It's amazing that how those connections can come together sometimes. Where you just encounter one another through stuff, and you know, like game recognized game, right? So they obviously, these guys obviously would have seen how incredibly talented you were from working with you briefly in the past, and that's how you make these connections. So it's awesome that you guys came together to do that. So from what I can gather, it was what, 2021 that sort of AURATEQUE officially became a thing. Is that right?
Late 2021 is when like our current lineup was kind of like solidified, and AURATEQUE kind of really became a thing. And then we basically set ourselves up to start playing shows in early 2022.
Okay, cool. So timed that just right, coming out of COVID, everything's starting to open back up.
Yeah, definitely. That was definitely a purposeful decision to start really getting things going. Just getting things ready to go just before opportunities started coming back up, because we really, really wanted to avoid like trying to get momentum going in a time where it's just naturally going to be very hard to get momentum going. And one thing that like a massive component of being in a band that everyone in a band loves, but I absolutely fucking love, is playing shows.
Yeah.
If we're releasing stuff, like that's awesome, but if we're not playing shows, like I need to kind of have both of those sides fulfilled. So once it started looking up, once things started to open up again, it became a real kind of priority for us to really get our ass in gear and get the band ready to just get out there and start playing shows and just kind of like, hit with a bang.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. And from what I saw, I think it was one of your earlier shows, you guys went out to Tamworth. Is that right? You guys headlined a show in Tamworth, sold out like 200 people.
The headline was actually very, very recent. Yeah.
Oh, that was recent.
We played 2 shows up in Tamworth. And the headliner one was the latest one that we did. I think it was last month. Yeah, it was last month.
Oh wow. Okay, sorry, I didn't realize it was quite that recent with it. So.
And it actually wasn't originally a headliner. The reason it became a headliner is because the actual headliner Postcards had to pull out. Unfortunately, bless those guys, stellar people, awesome band. But yeah, they had to pull out, so they made us the headliner for that. And yeah, that was sick, because that was a sold out show, and the energy was insane.
I'll bet, and it's a long way to go, so you'd want it to be worthwhile, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And like from our first time we went up in Tamworth last year, like we knew that it was worth going up a second time, because the energy they give up there in the country for this kind of music, you don't really go into it expecting that, but once you start thinking about it, it kind of makes sense. They like really get into it hard. Those guys are awesome. They're all lovely. Like, yeah, it's great place to be.
because I was going to ask that. Like, I mean, Tamworth isn't exactly known for heavy music, right? Like, it's much more known as a country music town.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. I actually caught a band recently. I cannot remember for the life of me who they are because I just got a shit memory. But they came out of Tamworth. They played a show in Sydney, and they were amazing. But what I was just going to add on to that is how you were saying about those regional shows where they turn up.
Yeah.
They turn up because it's so few
They
and far
really-
between that these shows actually go through those places. But
Yeah.
when you do, like, you got to think if so. I use this example all the time. North Lane. North Lane made their foothold in the Sydney scene by playing non-stop regional shows. They worked the regions out. They made a popularity out of there. You
Yeah.
get enough of them making noise, it's all going to follow through.
Yeah, 100%.
So, well, that's awesome. Like, I love the fact that you guys are getting out there and having some amazing work. I'm really sorry, Lauren. I don't think we're getting any audio from you.
This is pretty fucking standard. Whenever we do a video call, she has all the technical issues.
Hang on, I think you have.
This is a very.
You might have accidentally muted
You might have
yourself.
accidentally muted yourself, maybe.
No, she
we-
she was silent before she hit the mute button. Yeah, she's just having some connection issues.
Oh dear.
Bloody Australian internet, hey.
Ah,
You got to love it.
Yeah.
yeah.
All
Try,
right.
try and see how you go. See if you can. Oh,
Yeah.
everything's fallen over.
Got to get Laws into the conversation.
But yeah, I mean, like, so have you coming out of the gate so hard though, right? With those two songs and the video clip, playing that sold out regional show, you obviously had everyone bumping in there if you said it was such a good time.
Yeah, 100%.
What are like? Have we got like you obviously say shows are a main part. Is there any other plans of sort of going back into the studio and keeping that momentum going since the video and the other two tracks have gone so well?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're actually like these two songs that we've just dropped are part of a bigger project. We're actually going to be later this year we're going to be dropping an EP.
Mm-hmm.
And these songs are part of that. And in a couple months' time, we're going to be dropping another one, which also has a music video done. I don't want to speak too soon, but I think based on the footage that we got back from it, is going to be even better than this one.
Sorry to jump in there. I think Lauren, we did hear you for a second there.
Second, and then you dropped out again.
Oh, little bit, maybe.
We get ums and ahs. It was an oil spill.
Right. Okay, that was what was holding the traffic up, was it? Okay.
There you go.
We're getting little bits, and then it's dropping out again.
I think our internet might be on the bus.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Only if you stand in that one specific spot in the house, though.
The tin can and wire connecting.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, let's see let's see how that goes. We'll see if we can
You
get
did. Can you hear me now?
sort of try again.
You know,
Very crack.
Oh, I love it.
Nah, it's gone again.
Yeah.
Lauren, this isn't working.
Really, really
Give me a
sorry.
second.
The internet seems to be playing up there. Let's go on. So one thing I wanted to mention, as I mentioned in the introduction, is I love the way that you guys blend various sort of alternative genres together. There's elements of the kind of like pop punk vibe in there, and there's also just some really straight up heavy riffage, but it works really, really well with like the clean vocal, and it has a lot of that melody about it as well. Was that like a conscious thing of, okay, we want to take X, Y, and Z and put them together, or did it just naturally come about from jamming together?
Yeah, absolutely. It was a very kind of like creating our style was very purposefully, like genre blending is something that I really enjoy when I listen to music. I notice like the more and more time goes on, the more I notice like that artists are releasing all of this music that blends all of these insane, just like differing genres together to create this totally unique and new sound. Some great examples that directly inspired us. Rhapsody Taste by Ocean Grove. That was like the first like massive album that I ever heard that was like, how are these sounds working together? It was that. There was that Post-Human album that Bring Me made, and countless others, like countless others, where no matter like you hit every single song and they give you a completely different vibe, but they work so well together in the bigger picture. That kind of concept really drove me in my songwriting. And naturally, like, it's not just that I love albums like that, but also I really enjoy music from a wide like soundscape. Like, I used to be like a pretty like hard kind of like thrash metal dude growing up, but the more time went on, and once I got access to like streaming services, I really just got out there and just, you know, discovered as much music as I possibly could. And yeah, like that was kind of the basis for my style of songwriting, was just blending everything together. Everything from, you know, the alternative and new metal styles that like I kind of like grew up with, as well as like stuff like mathcore and math rock, which I really got into for a while. Yeah, just like a ton of genres. Like that just scratches the surface. And I do like, to me, genre like progression and genre blending is how new sounds are discovered. And yeah, like new sounds, I'm always wanting new sounds, so naturally that's what drew me to just write music.
A musician after my own heart, absolutely. I 100% understand that. I love finding stuff that is kind of pushing the boundaries of what I'm already familiar with and blending different things together, and just being different and unique from what I'm already familiar with, because that's, you know, no one likes hearing the same stuff over and over and over again. I mean, except AC/DC fans, but you know.
Yeah. Oh, there's two Laurens now. There's two Laurens.
Oh dear, is that too many? Okay, we can hear you now.
Can you hear me? Oh, thank fucking God. All right.
Oh my God, we finally hear you.
All right, that's awesome. But yeah, and I agree. And I mean, even, you know, it's not something that's even unprecedented with a lot of Aussie bands as well. I mean, you know, you've got bands like 12 Foot Ninja were out there blending metal in with like a lot of jazzy elements and just changing it up and doing something that was really unique and had such an interesting sound. Even going a lot further back than that, you know, it's I mean, it's something that's been going on in rock, I guess, for a lot longer with bands like Queen. But if you look in metal, you can go, when you go back to what, like the Slipknot Mate, Feed, Kill, Repeat EP, like that's some of the songs on there, tracks on there are blending, you know, metal with more, you know, more varied styles. And
that specific release because of how far back it is, but that whole like record is actually insane. Like, it is crazy.
It is, and it's an amazing example. If you're a big fan of Paul Gray and you want to hear him really cutting loose, you have to listen to that album, because he really just plays a whole bunch of stuff that you never get to see on any of the other Slipknot records.
Even that album, if you have a look at it, that took so much influence from Mr. Bungle.
Yeah, absolutely. There are another artists like Mr. Bungle.
It was then,
Mr. Bungle are fucking sick.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's underrated.
Absolutely. So something that I noticed when I was looking through, you know, the history on the social media pages, is that you're a band that seems very, very conscious of Indigenous and First Nations peoples. I can see, I've noticed a lot of the time when you're referring to a town or an area, you will often utilize the traditional name for the region, as well as the modern name for the area. Is that
every show we do acknowledgement of country as well? Like it's honestly just like acknowledgement, right? Of the traditional owners of the land. Like, it's pretty black and white. I know I had a conversation with a guy from a punk band one time who said to me, he was like, if your band isn't punk, so was pretty shit. But he was like, if your band isn't punk or if your band isn't like political or anything, like you shouldn't really do that. And I just
Very
thought,
gatekeeperish.
yeah, huh?
It's very gatekeeperish. Like he owns the right.
Yeah, but like that made me really think, as because I always did acknowledgement to country, and that made me really think like, why is it actually important? And it's something that everybody, I feel like, very, very passionately.
Yeah.
It's just pretty much a no-brainer, you know? And I feel like because we have a platform and we have, you know, people who listen to us and give a shit about what we have to say, it's only more important for us to really, like, you know, perpetuate the respect, you know? It's just a matter of respect, really, yeah.
Absolutely. I think it's brilliant.
And use your platform for that. It's such a good idea.
Yeah, totally. Totally. You gotta spread the good that you believe, right? You know, as good as you possibly can.
Yeah, definitely. I'm glad to see it. It's definitely something that I think needs to be happening more often. Not just in music, but just in general, because there's a lot of issues that, you know, a lot of us are privileged enough not to have to deal with, and sometimes because of that, we kind of don't realize they exist, or we don't think about the fact that they exist.
Yeah, totally. Bringing it to the forefront of the conversation as well is just an important thing to do. And if people are listening to you, you know, bring up the conversations you want to have, right?
Absolutely. So I did want to ask the name AURATEQUE. Is there a specific meaning behind the name for the band, or is it just like, hey, it kind of sounds cool, or like how did that come together as the name for the band, and what's the story around that and the meaning behind that, if there is one?
Yeah, there's fucking meaning behind everything we do, dude. We could give you a novel.
Yeah. Everything is done within this band.
Awesome.
But like, the first time we did it, Matt and I were in a like band before this band, and Matt and I have been writing together for years, and like we had this band, and its name was Scarborough, and I hated the name. Matt liked it.
Yeah. Look. Okay, let me just cut you off there for a second. When we first coined that name, I really, really liked it. But the more time went on, the more I like read it to myself. I'm like, damn, this is cringe.
Was it me being in your ear a little bit though? Because I was a little bit in your ear about it. I feel like I brought it up every band practice. I was like,
I think it wasn't necessarily me being like, this is cringe. It was me looking at how I look at music and how I like to write music, and I kind of wanted like us to transform into a project that could make whatever kind of music we wanted to make, which is where the whole genre blending thing comes in. And I wanted to rebrand us in a way that has a name that you look at and you don't immediately associate it with a specific genre. For me, Scarborough, you hear that, that's a metal band. Like AURATEQUE, what could AURATEQUE?
Yeah, AURATEQUE is so fucking weird, right? And like, so initially we're quite inspired by a band called Marmozets. And I don't know if you guys know them. Do you guys know Marmozets?
I'm not familiar.
No.
They're really cool. They're really cool, like mathcore band. And yeah, we're very inspired by them. And I really liked the name of the song Vibe Tech. It was called Vibe Tech. It was like VIBTECH. And I like looked at it for a really long time because Matt and I sat on my kitchen floor for hours one night. Dictionaries, like
two dictionaries,
words. It was crazy.
Just trying to find the coolest like words we could find.
Yeah, and then I was like, what about Vibe Tech? And then we were just like, that's way too much of a rip off. and then somehow, I don't know how it happened. Honestly, I can't tell you, but we came up with AURATEQUE. And AURATEQUE kind of is like the two parts to me. How I kind of see it is like, I'm the aura. I come up with like a lot of the visual stuff and a lot of the like lyrics and the meaning to like the lyrics and everything like that. You know, all the kind of like energy kind of part of it. And Matt does all the like foundational songwriting. He like gets everything down.
Like kind of technical kind of stuff. Yeah.
Technical shit to it. You know, like we have this full like IEM rig that he just built from the ground up. Like Matt's a technical master, even though he's the only guy who has technical issues. But I think that
yeah, it's because he's so busy making sure all your shit works that he doesn't have time to fix his own. That's always that guy, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Exactly. So yeah, it's like two sides. AURATEQUE and the T is like a mirror. And if you notice, actually, this is really a stupid little detail that I got really into. But like, if you look at it, the T is directly in the middle, and then the vowels and consonants mirror each other, which I thought was pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That kind of ties me into what the other thing that I was going to ask about the branding there, which is the dragonfly logo. Did you guys just pick that because it looks like you can make it look like a T, and it looks symmetrical? Is that, or is there like or is there more like more meaning, deeper meaning behind that?
Yeah.
Yeah, the dragonflies. Well, should we reveal it, Matt?
Ooh, it was something that we need to reveal. Okay, I like this. We got the exclusive.
I can't see because like I've got my.
I reckon. Let's just say. Earlier, I mentioned that we had an EP in the works, and the EP has something to do with dragonflies.
Okay.
Ah.
All right. I can dig that.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, right. Okay, so dragonfly is a pretty specific thing that we're going to find out about by the end of the year. I hate being secretive, but I'll play along. I guess.
And it freezes.
We're losing you again, Lars.
The signal's kind of in and out there a little bit. While we're doing that, though, I do just want to give a shout out to Spoons for the follow and getting involved in the chat there.
Welcome to the family, Spoons.
Spoons said, shout out to OG Scarborough fans. And also that they believe that Honest Crooks are a metal band out of Tamworth as far as they can remember. So, yeah, there we go, just harkening back to that earlier part of the conversation. But, yeah, it looks like Spoons is a fan from way back in the day for you guys.
Oh, true. That's so cool.
Reveal yourself. Who are you?
I'm sure they will.
So, all right. So, you guys have mentioned it a little bit there. You got that like an EP there in the works. So that's probably going to be out by the end of the year. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah.
Okay. And what, do we have can you give like a more of specific time frame than that, or is it just a bit? Are we too far out to be given that?
No, we've actually got the entire thing planned, and we've just got to get the content ready now. But the timeline is planned, and roughly around July, we're going to be looking at releasing the EP. Luke, correct me if I'm wrong, because Luke is the brain of the band, and he always knows everything. Luke, is it July?
I believe it is July. I originally thought it was like August or something, but no, I think it is July.
It's late July.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Late July. Okay.
Just in time for my birthday. Good on yous.
Happy birthday, mate.
Looking forward to that one. And you meant that we've got another single coming out soon. Yep. Is that going to tie in with the East Coast tour?
No, it's going to be after it.
After, okay.
That comes up.
Just after it, but we do have a couple of other shows that we're going to announce after it that will tie in with it. I think they're going to go off. I'm very excited about.
Got to have that synergy there. Always got to be releasing something to keep the algorithm happy, right?
Yeah. And it's also it's kind of fun releasing things.
It is. It's nice to always have something to release. That's for sure. Oh, yeah. Keeping up in the content cycle's a bitch.
Been, fun. It's been good to get something out there. Really been enjoying, seeing people receive it, seeing it get some love, on music feeds, Triple J, all that shit. It's just been really sick to see.
Cool.
So
on those two songs, so Paradigm was the first one that was released. Yep. And Hurricane obviously was the most recent one that dropped just this past week or so, I think. Give us some background around what those songs are about, and do they kind of tie together, or do they tie into a broader theme of the EP that we can expect to hear when that comes out?
Yeah, definitely. The entire EP was kind of like written at a. Can you hear me well, by the way?
Yeah,
Yeah,
There's
it's okay.
some like crackling.
A little bit of crackling, but
you? Oh, boo. Well, yeah. So I basically I see if my mic's on. Basically like when Matt and I wrote this EP together, I was going through a really intense time in my life. I'd like lived in the Gold Coast for a little bit, broke up with my partner, moved.
oh, you gone again.
Oh no.
so you just broken up with your partner in the Gold Coast.
Yeah. I moved back down to Sydney. I had like nowhere to live. My life was fucking chaos. And like in between all of that, Matt and I were like writing, like I was living in the Gold Coast, traveling back down to Sydney for shows. Like we were just sort of finding our feet with our sound.
Mm-hmm.
And like the cool thing is like there's a story in each song, and then the last song in the EP kind of ties them all together, and is like the only real like the kind of like there's a lot of resolve but in the entire EP, so it's kind of like a bit of a story of a lot of bullshit that kind of happened along the way.
Mm-hmm.
Lyrically, and also Matt was also going through a lot at the time, so it's really beautiful because it kind of encapsulates our experience together as writers, and how we kind of like grew together and got over like our bullshit together, which is really cool. It's really cool. It was kind of cool as well because Matt would send me songs and I'd be going through some bullshit, he'd be going through some bullshit, and we'd be kind of like feeling the same thing at the same time. And I thought that was really cool. Like Entropy, for example, Matt. That was a really dark time for both of us, and we were just like fucked. And then we wrote Entropy, and like, these songs I know for sure like made an incredible relationship between Matt and I, and also just really like healed us. So it kind of just tells the story of like us healing and our journey.
Yeah, that's the best way to kind of describe it. It's a very clear snapshot of the time that we were in, and like how writing music kind of like healed us.
Yeah, that's awesome though. I'm glad that you guys were able to find some healing through that process and move on from that, because it's obviously, I mean, look, when you're a musician, you kind of tend to find that in those darkest parts of your life, right? It's unfortunate, but it's true. I mean, so much incredible music comes out of so many horrible experiences and so many dark times. And I mean, I presume that you're doing a bit better with your situation now. Is that, you're doing a bit better with things now? Sorry, we lost you there.
Yeah. Well, I definitely am. So I'll say that on my part. Yeah.
There we go. I'm back.
You're back again.
It makes a sound every time I like come back, so I know. Doing amazing as well. I think like it's really cool. It's like now we're releasing everything and shit's actually happening. I damaged my voice for the past like.
Oh no.
It was crazy. I like haven't been able to sing properly for a year, and I got people fucking telling me, they're like, "Oh, your voice is so nice," and I'm like, "Dude, you don't want to listen to me talk in the morning. I sound like shit."
Oh no, was that just from pushing too hard, or what?
I was in another band, and I was rehearsing twice a week. I was playing shows twice a week. I was working 7 days a week to pay for 2 bands. Like, it was chaos. And I was also like partying every gig that I had because I was just like, woo, COVID's out, time to party.
Yeah.
Fucked my voice.
Storm, just terrible health.
Yeah, it's so bad. So now it's like double high because it's like we're finally releasing music and I can finally sing again. I'm high as hell. Matt hears my bullshit every day. I'm like, every day my voice is like, my voice is good. I feel great. Every day.
That's so good that you're doing better though. Just quickly with going back to the chat for a second, Spoons come in. we were talking about, they'll reveal themselves, and Spoons was like, "No, I've been following these guys both in person and from afar for a few good years. Incredibly proud, as you should be, Spoons. We should all be proud of our friends' bands that do well, and their friends that just do well in whatever they're doing. And also, big thank you to Killer for the follow. The Killer with I's, well, one's for the L's and 3 R's on the end. But thank you very much for the follow there. Right, so getting back to talking about stuff. Where are we? Where are we going there? Okay. The video for Hurricane, as I mentioned, it's an amazing video. Really, really great video. Like, I feel like it fits the song really, really well. The vibe is just all there, and the production values are off the charts for it, for bands that at like kind of the local level.
We're so thrilled with how it turned out.
Shout out to Dune Labs. Dune Labs is so fucking good,
shout out
man.
to Dune Labs. They
Dune
are
Labs.
absolutely insane.
Unreal. They're unreal.
Was
Yeah.
that?
And they're just beautiful to work with as well. Like no dramas, just fucking
I don't
incredible.
want to work with anybody else, man. You know when you meet someone you work with, and it's just like it's magic, and you're like, I'm holding on to you forever, never letting go.
Definitely.
Exactly.
Definitely. And so I think
I want to do a real quick shout out as well.
Yeah.
Relevant to Dune Labs. I think another Dune Labs video just dropped today for Broken Earth, and that video is all fucking mental, as is the song. They killed it with that one. So yeah.
So
shout out.
Awesome. We'll have to make a point of going to check that one out.
Sure.
Now the concept behind the video for Hurricane. Talk to us a little bit about that. What's, just for the people that may not have seen it yet, we are going to be playing it at the end of the podcast. If you want to stick around, you can check that one out there. But just give us a little bit about like the story being told in the video there, and what the message was you were trying to get across with that.
So yeah, I wrote that one when we wrote that one when I was living in the Gold Coast. We wrote it across Facebook Messenger, and the song is about it's about a lot of things. I think that there was a lot of things happening at the time, but I kind of had to like reevaluate my entire life. All alone in the Gold Coast. It was pretty intense, and I guess that song just really like encapsulates that. There was like a really toxic relationship that I got into by circumstance just after my like big breakup, and like it's not necessarily about relationships or anything, but it is about the fact that I had to, because I was with this person for 8 years of my life. I left home when I was 15. I had no family, but did I lose you guys again?
No, we can still hear you.
Cool. Yeah. I had no family but his family, no friends but his friends, and then I just basically was left with nothing when we broke up, and I was just like, oh wow, okay, I have nothing. Like I actually have nothing of my own, and so that was really about like how I became a blank, vacant human being who was just like malleable. I had nothing really to grip onto, and I just was really doubting who I was as a person and a human being, and I had to completely reshape myself and find myself. And this was like in the throes of like circumstantial relationship as well that was really toxic. It was toxic because I had no it was toxic because of the situation that I was in. And I wrote it during that, and that was really crazy. So there's a lot of symbolism in there. I wanted it to be like in a house and outside of a house to represent like being trapped and like finding freedom. So that's why there's like an indoor scene and an out scene. And like I wanted wine to be flowing. Did I lose you? Or somebody?
No,
dropped?
we're here. I think Kyle might have dropped out. He's in a weird spot, so his signal might have gone. No, that's okay. Don't mind me. I'm just going to be adjusting the logos on the stream actually because they're a little big now that we've done that. But keep going. Keep with the story. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, like, I wanted the wine to kind of like represent like the overflowing of like energy and being really drained. So like the symbolism of like the wine draining, but also overflowing simultaneously. It's kind of like representative of how I felt at that time.
Yep.
And yeah, just like little things like that. I did have like locks. Lock like earrings and lock on my chain as well to like represent being trapped. It's a tiny little detail. They fell out at the first scene anyway, so it didn't really matter.
As did the snake ones that you had for the last shoot as well. The same thing happened again.
Have all of these like I want to put all these little details in and they all fall off because I'm a fucking maniac. So it didn't work. But yeah, there's like a lot of symbolism in that, and that hurricane especially came from like a really real and raw moment in the time. Like a lot of like the other ones are kind of just like the past being dredged up and me kind of facing that, but like hurricane was like in the moment.
Yeah.
Fucked, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. Anyway, did you want to talk about it as well, Matt?
I mean, you pretty much perfectly summed up the concept for it. That
was conceptualized pretty much.
We lost for a second there.
Video connected.
There we go. Reconnected. There we go. Back again.
Okay. Cool. What was the question again? Sorry.
Well, you were just talking about like you had obviously just given us your rundown there, and we were talking to Matt about that side of the contribution and those ideas around it. So what was your side on that one, Matt?
On the concept for the video.
Yeah. So your input and what you had to say on that one.
The whole thing was very much a kind of joint effort to kind of figure out like how, because we kind of knew the underlying themes that we wanted to represent with the imagery, but it was like I guess the rest of us played a part in figuring out how we were going to visually represent those themes, because all of those themes like directly tie into the lyrics which Loz wrote. One thing that was really, really cool when we were like planning this video shoot is we were scrolling through Airbnb for inspirational ideas, because we kind of knew that we wanted it to be very like naturey and outdoory and have this kind of like cabin kind of feel to it. And we found this one, this just randomly while scrolling, we found this one out in Salisbury, which is literally like in the middle of absolutely nowhere. Like it's 40 minutes away from like the nearest town, and it's a complete reception dead zone. But we saw that cottage cabin thingy, and we had this like synergetic moment of being like, I think we were on call or something. We saw that and we were like, that's the one. Like that's where we want to shoot it at. Like it was perfect as soon as we saw it. And like after we figured that out, we saw the distance like to travel to get there, and we considered like maybe we can get something sort of like this that's a bit closer. But at the end of the day, like once we like weighed up all of our options, we came back to that one and we were like, that's the one. We've got to shoot there. Like who cares if it's a bit of a distance? Like it's just perfect.
Sometimes you just know, right? Sometimes you see it and you just know.
Yeah, and that's exactly how the hurricane shoot all kind of came together.
That's awesome. Well, we will be, as I said, we will be checking out that video, playing that on the stream at the end of the podcast. So if you haven't seen it yet, stick around. You will get to see that. Something that I also wanted to ask about, and I kind of spotted this in the video, and I haven't really seen if it's the same live, but I did want to ask about this because it struck me as a little bit unusual, not something that you see all the time when you come to bands with two guitarists.
Yep.
But Luke and Matt, you guys use some very different guitars there. Very different style of guitar and playing.
Oh, this is the part where me and Luke could talk for a fucking century about gear.
So is that something where you guys were like, okay, well, you know, Matt's playing like the Fender, so that's like kind of
You're all
taking
my
care
Fender
of the more
fine,
mid-rangey stuff, and then Luke's on like the more genty side of things, the more like down-tuned stuff, filling that sonic space to kind of keep out of each other's way? Is that something that came about, or was it just like accidental, just kind of that's how it happened?
It's more
pretty much
so.
what we do, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Luke.
So yeah, like all the songs that we're currently playing are 6-string regular drop D.
Mm-hmm.
When I first joined, I didn't have this guitar yet. I was using a 7-string guitar, and I was doing pretty much the same thing, playing in 6-string drop D on a 7-string. So
Mhm.
you know, doing the opposite of what all the gent kids do and play every string but the low string.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
then, but what we've worked out is with certain riffs on this EP that we're doing, I utilize the lower register and I play an octave lower than Matt in some sections.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I
It
like
just
that.
speeds everything up, and also the guitar just looks really nice in the video.
It does.
Yeah, it's a beautiful fucking piece of equipment.
It does. I mean, you know, and even, I mean, obviously you can see like all these in the background there. Like I'm a bass player myself, so I tend to get a little bit suspicious of guitarists going down too low. But I think it's when it's done right, and especially with having, you know, one guitar being a bit higher up, then you've got another guitar that's kind of doing the guitar thing but an octave lower. That allows your bass you know, parts to be doing something again that can be, I mean, even if they are just playing along, it adds that beefiness, as you say, to it, but it would also create room for the bass player to do different stuff as well if they wanted to get a bit funny with it, right?
Yeah.
See, I love that. I love that there's that thought about layering in there, because all too often, you know, I think you see two guitarist bands and it's like, okay, well, we both have to be the same. You know, we both have to be on like, we both have to be in B tuning or the same tuning, and you know, even if they're not playing the same parts, having the guitars be, you know, in the same sort of sonic space, it you know, it's fine, and it obviously works for a lot of bands. A lot of bands do it quite successfully.
Yeah.
But it's something that the way you guys are approaching it is definitely not something that you're seeing out there a lot. And I mean, I love it because I love seeing something a bit different. And I think it'd be something that's very difficult to make work for the wrong people. But I feel like from what I've heard, but I feel like from what I've heard so far, in the two songs so far, you guys are managing it really, really well. And I'm just like, I'm so stoked to see what's coming next and what's on the rest of that EP, because after hearing these first two songs, I'm like really, really fucking excited. I got to tell you. Like,
well, you see, the thing is, with that whole me doing the lower register thing, that's actually just a live exclusive at this point, because these songs were written and recorded like way before I joined. So I brought this in.
Not a live exclusive, and I'll explain why in a second. Luke joining the band with his 7 strings and 8 strings was actually kind of the perfect thing to happen, because when we recorded the Dragonfly EP that we mentioned beforehand,
I nearly fucked it.
You nearly did it. You nearly did it.
when we were recording that EP that I mentioned beforehand, during the process of recording, I was actually really, really starting to experiment with like super low tunings, and like really like extended range baritone guitars that go super duper low. And there are actually some sections across the EP, and there will be, in the next single we're dropping, there's going to be quite a few of them in that, where I actually double tracked the guitar using one of my super long scale baritone guitars in that double drop tuning. It kind of adds a little bit of extra chunk, a little bit of extra kind of brutality. It's a trick that I actually learned.
Give me a sec. Keep talking. I am listening. Keep talking.
Oh, good. It's a trick that I learned from the Nail the Mix episode of Spirit Box, their song Holy Roller. When that like crushing breakdown with the glass break sound effects like comes in, I looked at the stems and they have guitars that are double dropped and triple dropped, and they all come together, and it is just disgusting. And I was also really impressed with the band Loathe at the time too. So naturally, I
love me some Loathe. Love me some
yeah.
Loathe.
I've got the Jazz Master and the Bass 6 behind me there.
Yeah, the Bass 6. That's what I was about to show you.
Hey, there it is.
The Bass 6, man. Yeah. That's we're gonna be. I'm looking at utilizing that for something similar in across a couple of different releases as well. So
yeah, no, they're super sick, versatile.
Yeah,
just really interesting instruments.
It is.
And if you crank the overdrive, it sounds absolutely disgusting.
Definitely. I mean, I think for one of the songs for the next Skunkbone album, I actually I grabbed that instead of one of my bass guitars, because the bass line is like, it's a bit what it is. It's kind of a bit easier to play it on that one, but it also sounds a bit better because playing it on the bass, it kind of loses. It's too rounded. So playing that on this one, it kind of puts a little bit more of the twang back into it. Without, because the melody doesn't work if it's too low, but if I play it too high on the bass, it gets really like rounded and everything. So I found that was really handy. But yeah, they're an amazing guitar to have on hand for just filling some of that space. So awesome. I'm glad to hear that you're mucking around with stuff like that. I think you and I should definitely talk off the stream, because I feel like we could probably trade a lot of tips there.
Start talking about baritones, I can't stop.
Yeah, no, it's just look. I got a Gretsch up on the wall as well. Gretsch baritone, which is really, really sweet. So let's hit the first segment, because I think we need to do the quick question quarter. So I'm gonna hit the cutaway. I get to hit the cutaway this time, Kyle. I get to hit the cutaway, and. And we're back. Okay, so this is the quick question quarter. We haven't had the quick question quarter for a couple of weeks, because last week we had Unentitled, who are a return guest. They'd already done it, so we're going to run it through you guys now. Basically, quick question quarter, all with Q's, not with K's, because we don't want that association. It's just a bunch of rapid fire questions that we're going to throw out there for you guys. Just fastest answer, just, come back with it. We want just the first thing comes through your head. I think we just got another follower, if I'm not mistaken. Funk Effect. Thank you. Thank you for the follow, Funk Effect. Absolute legends. All right. Getting to the quick question quarter. So yeah, just some rapid fire questions. We'll run it through all of you guys and grab your answers. They start out easy. They do get trickier as it gets towards the end, though. So first one for everybody. What was your first instrument?
Drums.
Bass.
Guitar.
Ooh, I like that. Okay. First album that you purchased, either with your own money or where you like said to your parents, like, I want this album.
Master of Puppets by Metallica.
Ooh, nice one.
Young Modern, Silverchair.
Oh.
Nice.
Sorry, did Loz, did we get your one? I don't think we heard that one.
This is 4 by 30 Seconds to Mars.
Ooh, okay. Nice diverse range there. I dig it. First live concert that you attended?
AC/DC Black Ice Tour.
Does the Wiggles count?
No, we tend not to count the Wiggles and stuff like that, but...
Bon Jovi.
Bring Me the Horizon, Asking Alexandria, and the Amity Affliction at the Roundhouse, New South Wales.
Ooh, again, a bunch of good ones. I think I was at that Black Ice tour. I think we might have even been at the same show, because was that the one at Olympic Park?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was at that one. I mean, there was like 60,000 people there, so I'm not surprised that, All I saw was, look, I was on the floor, I turned around, I just saw a sea of flashing devil horn lights. That's it.
Mine still works from that. I've still got that at my parents' house. It still fucking works. Never changed the battery in it.
Wow, they must have put the Nokia batteries in that one.
Dude, that thing does not stop.
What's an instrument that you've always wanted to learn but haven't had the opportunity to yet?
Keyboard.
I'd probably go drums. Like, I can sort of play drums, but like, given the opportunity, I'd like to, learn more.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to Lauren's place. I'm sure she'll let you play the kit.
Bro, I've got so many fucking instruments, but I don't have any wind instruments.
Okay.
So I want to learn the saxophone desperately. It's so cool.
Lovely.
Yeah,
Lovely.
absolutely. That's definitely, yeah, absolutely.
Fun fact about saxophones: my last band had a song with a saxophone solo.
All right, Pink Floyd, come on. But that's a good call, Maddie. Keyboards really, really good. I started I kind of had dabbled on guitar.
Tool, because like every time like all of the synth players that you hear in our music, like I had to manually draw like every single note. I don't actually have a keyboard for it. Having a keyboard so I can just hit those chords would be just like amazing.
Yeah. I mean, look, I've got a MIDI keyboard. First instrument I ever learned proper was piano. I had like 5 years worth of lessons on it. Don't ask me to actually play anything properly from now, but yeah, it's great for hashing out ideas. It's amazing for understanding the way music is composed in a different mindset. So it's really awesome. I highly recommend keyboards for any musician that doesn't already know it. It's probably my number one recommendation.
Yeah, I gotta get past the point where I look at all of the keys in front of me and just like have a meltdown because there's so many options.
You know what gets me though? Like I learned.
What the great thing is now, you can just make keyboards and they have lessons already built on them.
Yeah,
the lights flash and they tell you where to push, so you can just get your.
I mean, something that I found was because I learnt so much of my stuff on like all my music theory on piano and keyboard, like I can't break that programming. So if you tell me like, oh, play this note on a guitar or a bass, unless it's an open string, I'm like I have to visualize like a piano keyboard in my head and then translate that onto the guitar or the bass. I can't just immediately go to that just because of that programming from all that time on piano. So it's really, really handy. And as you say, as a production tool, a composition tool, it really can't. I mean, probably I'd say piano or keyboard and acoustic guitar are probably two of the strongest across the board composition instruments for just hashing out broad ideas.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'm looking forward to seeing the answers to this next one. If you could pick any big band or artist to open a show for, now this, I will say this can be active or not, living or dead, doesn't matter. This is like just fantasy world, dream pick, any big band or artist for you guys to open a show for, who would it be?
Trivium.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Deftones.
American Idol.
I'm gonna say, I hope you guys know who this is. Duran Gray.
Yep.
They're a Japanese metal.
Yep, I'm familiar with Duran Gray. They're incredible. I saw them at.
They're so good.
I managed to catch their set because they were highly recommended at Soundwave in like 2014. I want to say.
Hey, I was at that one.
Where it was, yeah. I think it was that one that I saw them at because they were highly recommended and blew me away. Incredible band.
Yeah, they are absolutely insane. Every time I go over to Lawrence and she shows me a little bit of their music, like I am actually like mesmerized, horrified, but also like fuck, that's good. That's like really good. They are mental.
They're mental, yeah. I play a lot of what's that?
They don't write music; they write musical pieces.
Yeah.
Like their scores.
Yeah.
Scores. They're that big. Like there's so much going on in them. Their scores.
Mm.
Yeah. And that's what's so incredible about them. There's a Japanese metal supergroup at the moment with the lead singer of Duran Gray called Petit Brabancon. They are next level, man. They're so fucking sick. Like he's just like he's got like 5 projects. You know, he's like 5 projects.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with Deviloof?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. A big fan of them too.
But I've listened to their stuff.
They dropped a new
It's
song
that
that's a bit more clean
heavy.
vocals in it. So it might be worth checking out. It definitely gave me Deer and Grey vibes off the new Deviloof song. So
Yeah, I've only listened to a couple of Deviloof songs. But yeah, Matt, I'll give them a good run now that you recommend it.
Okay, good one here. Who is an artist or band that you're listening to at the moment that you believe is seriously underrated and needs more attention?
Ooh.
Told you they get trickier.
Am I allowed to say a Japanese metal band again?
You can say whoever you want.
So there's this band that I listen to called Mikyu, and I want to scream their name from the fucking rooftop because they are unreal. They're not underrated in Japan, but I wish that they would break the kind of the way that Dur and Grey have broken. Like Petit Ravencon played Knotfest and sit that guy's, everyone knows who Dur and Grey is, if you really like metal. But yeah, these guys are they haven't broken out of the international as yet. And
how do you spell it?
MUCC. Their latest album that they released is really, really creative, and it just tickles every little bit of.
Awesome.
Yeah, I just honestly am just spewing that I live in Australia. I wish I lived in Japan because the music there is fucking good.
What about the boys?
I'm probably gonna have to say Loathe. They're getting big, but they need to get bigger. More people need to know about them.
Yeah,
I still
I'll agree with that.
All the time that don't actually know who they are, and it's wow. How do you not know who they are? They are my entire world at the moment. You kind of get into that kind of line.
Yeah, you're stuck in your little musical bubble. I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. You totally get offended when people there's this album they put out, dude, and it's the greatest album ever written. Come on, man.
They are so underrated for sure. But people who are involved in the heavy music scene are they're the shit,
Yeah.
Which is nice. But every scene is gonna obviously have their goats.
When I first heard I Let It In, that was the only album I listened to for 6 months straight.
Oh yeah, we all heard
every
about
time one of my friends discovers that they exist, I'm like, you've discovered gold. Just listen to that shit.
Yeah.
Agreed. What about you, Luke?
I've decided. I was just scrolling through my general listening playlist that I've got, and I think I'm going to go for some Aussie boys here. The Gloom in the Corner.
The Gloom in the Corner.
Yes, absolutely.
Songwriting and story writing, just world building in general, is nuts. Mickey is a world class fucking storyteller.
Awesome. Well, I'll put them on the list then for sure. See, this is what I love. This is why I love this question, is because I always go out, and if I'm not already familiar with the bands that I mentioned, I make a point of listening to them because you never know what you're going to find, and you get some really interesting picks out of this. And anyone watching definitely should go and check them out as well, because that's what this is about. We want to not only spread the word about the bands that we have on, but the bands that are inspiring the bands that we have on, and trying to get, build the base of some of these bands that deserve to break, deserve to get that attention, because we love music. That's why we do the podcast. That's why we just want to talk to people about music all the time. So that's awesome. Well, that's great. So there's some good picks there. What is something people may be surprised to learn about you? The silence is deafening.
I'm an introvert. I'm a fucking introvert. People want to hang out with me. I don't want to hang out with anybody.
I know the feeling. I play it. You're on stage and you're like, brah, and then you're off stage and you're just like, stay the fuck away from me.
Let me have a wine in the corner.
Let me pack my gear down. Let me calm down.
You're one of the most extroverted people I know.
I know. This is my problem.
Literally, everyone would assume you're an extrovert, but the moment you say that you're not, it's what?
yeah, people like, because I thought that this was known, because whenever people try to make plans with me, I'm like, no, I've got to sit down and stare at a wall, actually. And, like, you know, and then I'll be like, I've started telling people, like, I don't want to come out because I'm introverted. And then, like, close friends will be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And I'm like, yes, I'm starting to get some peace. It's great.
There you go. A bit of honesty never hurts.
Yeah, it goes a long
but
fucking
I completely
way.
understand the feeling. I think a lot of musicians and performers are, though. Like, it's we get on stage and we get, you know, we get that energy and that sort of back and forth with the crowd, and that's when we are expressing ourselves and being that extroverted part of ourselves. And then once that's done, we're exhausted and that's spent, and we need like a week to recover from that.
Totally, yeah. But like when I'm like in the moment with somebody, like right now, like I can't shut the fuck up. Like I'm always talking, I'm really loud, I'm always laughing, and like, you know, but like it's still like is just because I'm there in that moment. I'm not gonna waste that. But you know, like I think it's because I'm so extroverted when I'm talking to somebody that I need to like step back as well a bit. And it definitely comes out in the art as well. You know, it's the same principle, right?
Yeah. Both sides are
But it's
important.
always a passion thing, isn't it? You're going to be extroverted to us because we're talking to you about the thing you're passionate about, the band and the music.
Totally, exactly. Yeah, and that's a good point. I suppose I really only surround myself with people who care about
it depends on the conversations people want to strike up with you. If it's something you're passionate with, yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
Totally, that's a good point. Hey, yeah,
100%. I definitely mirror that too. Like especially if I'm like out and about or if I'm at work and like someone just like wants to chat with me about something that isn't music related, like, you know, I won't be able to fully get into it, but the moment anyone starts asking me about like the band or anything, like I'd start like going crazy. Like I start like full shell just like disappears.
It's
And
like
I go absolutely hyper mode.
the light comes on in your eyes and you're just like, oh, that one thing that I can talk for 10 hours about. I could give a 10-hour presentation at the drop of a hat.
As soon as someone starts to make small talk with you, the eyes roll in the back of your head and it's like, we really have to do this.
Yeah.
oh my, totally. Sometimes all we have, my brain's like, what is going on? Get out, get out, get out, get out. And I'm like, oh, no, get out.
What about you, Luke?
Small talk makes it easy.
I've never been introverted. I've always been pretty extroverted. Like I guess as I've gotten older, I've come to tolerate people less, I guess.
It keeps going. It keeps going. Believe me. You see the grey in there. It keeps going. Trust me.
Introvert versus extrovert. Like I've always been a pretty extroverted person. And like I worked in like construction for 8 years, so I was just around people all day, every day. And then once I got into bands and playing music all the time, that was like where I feel most comfortable. Honestly, being out at shows and just meeting new people.
Awesome. Now you've all been in doing music thing for a little while now. So this is a question for a good laugh. What's the cringiest band name or song name that you've ever been involved with?
Oh, there's a few.
The best one. Jack, I'm looking at you.
One.
I had one the other week, and it was called Counterfeit Umbrellas.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and I didn't even I was doing a podcast with me, buddy, and he just told us, he goes, Counterfeit Umbrellas, and I'll just roll the eyes and went, bro, that's so cringe. So Jack, I'm looking at you, boy.
Counterfeit umbrellas, sure. My brain can't even like think of how that would make sense. Mine is definitely my fucking my high school band, of course. I'm pretty sure they're only going to be high school bands, right? Was Forever But Never. Straight rip of that yeah, you can feel it. You're cringing.
Oh,
God.
that hurts.
So bad. Anyway, so we were basically just a fucking a Day to Remember cover band, and we tried to write one song, and it was terrible. We had no idea what we were doing. No idea.
But that's the way with
Yeah,
high school bands, right? Like you do that, and then you like you think you're gonna be the best thing ever, and you do that, and you're like, oh, okay, we're actually a little bit shit.
we won the
At the
fucking
time, though, at the time, you were the best you would. At that point,
That
you were
was the best
at
you
that
would
point.
ever been in your life. So yeah, exactly.
That's a very good point. Yeah, we really like, as soon as we hit the talent quest, man, you couldn't keep our heads inside the room. We were just like, fuck. Through, bro. Watch out. Okay.
That being dropped in ages. I feel like I'm surviving it.
Yeah.
All
Go do
right.
the talent quest.
What's what about the boys? We need the cringe from that side too.
So the very it's very much echoing Lauren here, but the very first band that I was ever in my entire life, during high school, was actually a cover band, called Swiss Feedback. And the reason we came up with the name Swiss Feedback is because we were rehearsing, and then we went on break from rehearsal to go eat pizza in our friend's house. And one of us left the amps on, and the amp was feedbacking really, really hard. And as we noticed that, an ad came on for Swiss cheese. So we're like, hey, Swiss Feedback, that's cool.
Just grabbing the most random shit and putting it together. I love
100%.
that.
And we were like, it's so random, it's so quirky.
It's
like,
so
this
random, guys. It's like no one will fucking know. And then we can pretend there's some deep meaning behind it, right? Like,
Exactly. That's how you win the game. That's how you do it. Yeah, we only ever played one. We technically played one show, and that was not really a show. It was the school fucking talent thingy. And we covered Bullet with Butterfly Wings by Smashing Pumpkins.
mm-hmm.
And I played guitar, and I was also doing vocals as well. I'd never sung once in my life beforehand. There's like, I know somewhere there's a video in the depths of the internet of that show, and it is absolutely pitiful. But I gotta shout out my two mates, Luke and Tom. Tom and John. From that band, absolute sweethearts, amazing people, but yeah, we sucked.
All right,
But
and
that's the expression of being in music, right? You've got to suck to get good.
yeah, the first step to being good at something is sucking at something.
Exactly.
And Luke, look, I know you got the good metal, the hard metal dude vibes now, but I get the feeling you had some pretty cringe energy back in the day.
Come on, give it to us.
I suppose my cringe experience was also in high school, but it wasn't a high school band. This was like actually mere months after me starting to learn and like get lessons.
Mm-hmm.
The place where I was getting lessons would over school holidays would do like a band workshop for like a week. You just get together with a bunch of other students. What else do we do? You write and record 2 songs in a week.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember what name we were called, but we wrote a song called Driftwood, and this was around the time when planking was the big thing. Remember planking?
Unfortunately, yes.
And
Yes.
planking on a piece of driftwood or some shit. And the chorus had the words "Death on the beach, driftwood" or something like that, and it was fucking terrible.
Fair enough. There you go.
I didn't write. I don't think I wrote the lyrics. I might have had a part in it, but in the recording, you can hear me in the background trying to scream.
Oof.
I tried to let out like a growl
And
during the chorus.
were you like, did you have like the heavy eyeliner and all that going on?
No, I had the Justin Bieber haircut.
Oh, okay. Right.
It's all about the hair, man.
It is.
About the hair.
Hey, look, Justin Bieber haircut makes the ladies go crazy. Right. last part of the quick question quarter.
To be fair, Enter Shikari rocked that thing well before Justin Bieber.
Yeah, true. All right.
He rocked that thing.
Last
Boy band,
question of the
right?
quick question quarter, and my favorite question of the quick question quarter. What is your most controversial musical opinion?
Foo Fighters wouldn't have been as big as they are if
How long have
Nirvana had to break up and Dave was involved. They're overhyped, just really overhyped. But yeah, they wouldn't be as big if Dave wasn't involved.
Agreed.
that Nirvana?
No,
Foo Fighters.
Foo Fighters. So you
Foo
basically
Fighters,
you're saying
okay.
Foo.
Had he died, Foo Fighters wouldn't be a thing.
Yeah.
But
Oh, I see.
supposedly, behind the story behind the Foo Fighters is that Dave Grohl didn't actually put his name to anything. He just started writing the music.
Well, he
And
didn't
then
want
when
it.
people-
He didn't want it
He
to
didn't
be
want-
known as like the guy from Nirvana. He wanted it to stand on its own, which is why he kind of
That's exactly what it is now.
didn't want to put that. Yeah. But
But forever, he
no,
was
that's
known as the Jonathan Nirvana.
that's fair enough. I mean, that's I feel like you've been waiting to get that one off your chest. You came out so quick with that one.
It's a good one.
You're like, I'm on a
I'm not
podcast.
wrong.
I have to say something controversial.
No, it's a good one.
Red Hot Chili
I
Peppers are great as well.
Oh.
He's coming in hot today.
Oh.
Is that I missed? What'd you say?
Red Hot Chili Peppers, overrated. There's way better bassists than Flea.
There's a red button. You can just press it.
Wow.
Fucking red button.
You
What
can
is-
Ginger is
what
way,
is-
way better than Flea.
If we didn't want the answers, we wouldn't ask the questions.
Yeah, no, look, we ask it. We don't want people to censor their musical opinions on this question. We want the hard truths. Like, everyone's got their own views on stuff. That's what we're here for. We're here for. This is so people can get to know you guys better.
I got two.
Mhm.
I got two actually. One is actually controversial, and the other thing will be me throwing the rest of the band into dismay. The first one, which is like the actual controversial hot take, and will probably get me in the alternative scene cancelled. That Blink song, the part where Tom comes in with the "Where are you?"
Where are
ruins the
you?
song.
You said-
Ruins the song. Ruins it. I'm vibing with it like really well until that section hits, and then it kills it for me.
I had to. You didn't say it properly, so I had to. Sorry.
I refuse to say it properly.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, it's
To this day, I still can't figure out if everyone ironically likes that, or if like that's legitimately something that people think is good. Because I
feel
think
like
it's
I feel like a lot of
completely
the appeal is the meminess of it, like with how memey it is. But all right.
I heard it for the best way to describe it.
I just can't like sing
You know,
along to it.
It comes in all nice, and then the cat gets its tail pulled.
Yeah.
Okay.
100%.
And what's your other one?
So my other one, which is literally just me like making the rest of the band fucking scream, is that fuck you guys, Usher slaps.
I mean, he's got some bangers.
Oh,
He's got some bangers. You can't
More
lie.
specifically, Loz. Fuck you, Loz. Usher slaps.
I
It
can't.
does,
Like, don't have to go to me. I never say anything about it.
Clubbing days back in the early 2000s. Yeah.
His era,
Yeah.
incredible.
Huh?
Bro,
He was-
You got it.
All right, Loz.
I honestly don't. I can't think of any. I feel like I have very strong opinions on everything all the time. Matt, if you can throw me a lifeline on my strong opinions, let me know. But there is one, and it's that 90s R&B. Irks me to no end. I fucking hate it. I think it's so garbage that I can't even.
Look,
like,
there
handle-
was a lot of music in the 90s is pretty trash.
I'm
Like,
talking about the famous shit. Like,
You know.
I'm talking about like Usher, Ashanti, like all.
Not a
like,
layout.
what else was there? Like LL Cool J. Like
there was a lot of
The 90s had some fantastic music, but as a whole, just that whole decade was like probably the worst
I think
for music.
I think the issue
It's
with
the
a lot of
worst.
90s music was the cynicism with which it was created. It wasn't created to be good. A lot of it was just created because that's what was cool and that's what was being pushed as popular, so they could try and sell it. So I think there's definitely a kernel of truth in what you're in that kind of statement. So yeah, I mean, but I get it's a controversial opinion, absolutely. Like a lot of people, especially of.
But I also like, in saying that, like my favorite vocalist of all time is Mariah Carey. So like, she was pretty much pioneering 90s R&B for a really long time. But yeah, like I just feel like there's a lot of like cheapness to it, but I feel like I was also subjected to a lot of it without like unwillingly subjected to it a lot. Like I had a lot of friends who were really into it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And video hits every morning.
Huh?
Video hits every morning.
Oh, yeah, totally. Yeah, you could ape it at one point in your life, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. All right. All right. Well, there we go. That was the quick question quarter. Now,
that was a really good.
That was some good ones.
Were very good.
That really was. That was some good ones. And now we move on. Now we move on to the fuck off files. All right. All right. So if this is your first time ever watching the podcast, this is the fuck off files, where we ask our very esteemed guests that if they could just snap their fingers like Thanos and get rid of any 3 things from the music industry, what would they be and why? Since we have 3 members of AURATEQUE, we will get 1 from each of them. Whoever wants to start, please feel free. What would you fuck off out of the music industry and why? Don't all jump at once. What was that? Other bands?
Cover bands.
Oh,
Cover bands, yeah.
Cover bands, right? Okay, cover bands.
Cover bands that take all of the money. God, my God, they get paid.
Some for the rest of us, you fucks.
Yeah, the fact that cover bands can just go out there, and I don't want to say no effort, because obviously it takes effort to build up such a large catalog, but there's as musicians that write original music, there's definitely a lot of effort that goes into that. So I feel there's definitely some weight to that argument.
Yeah, totally. I think as well as like the really hard, the hard pill to swallow is like, okay, if you want to make it, if you want to make your sole income through music.
Mm-hmm. Yep, you got to be off there doing the cover thing. I just jumped to the chat there. Spoons came in with venues that take merch cuts, scum and should fuck off.
Absolutely, that should fuck off.
Absolutely, Spoons, you might be interested. Something that we're looking at doing.
Concept used to take merch cuts.
We're trying to do something that we're trying to do as an investigation. Yeah, we're a little passion project about something we got on the bubble there. Trying to reach out. We got a whole list of venues around Australia that take merch cuts from bands, and we're in the process of reaching out to them.
There's like a spreadsheet. There's a spreadsheet that I saw.
Shout out Jason Mack for that spreadsheet.
Yep, absolutely. That's the one I got there. Where basically the plan is to reach out to all these venues and just try and get statement from it. Be like, what's the reasoning behind this? Why is it that you take this as part of your structure? What's the decision-making process around that? Because I think that there is... we'll come back to you guys very, very briefly. I just want to say, for me, it's like, if there's, if the venue is providing someone to run the merch booth, I can understand them taking a cut to pay that person. But if a lot of the times they don't, and it's just, oh, well, you're playing here, so we're going to take a cut of your merch. We're just trying to get some more information around that, some context from the venues, and yeah, absolutely, yeah, Architects and we're one of the bands that got fucked really, really bad, and unfortunately, because Live Nation and Ticketmaster basically control 80% of the music industry at all levels, it becomes really hard to avoid when they do that. But yes, back to our guests there. What else have we got? What would cover bands? Cool. That's I think cover bands making an inordinate amount of money is definitely something that needs to fuck off.
Yeah,
Totally.
absolutely. I'm gonna say, and I definitely think this is a product of the recent like just absolute invasion of like TikTok and like these really really fast snappy social media platforms.
Mm-hmm.
But there's definitely a pressure on artists to get people's attention instantaneously, like having a song structure and having like the pressure to have something that grabs people with a hook instantly. And that's existed before social media. Like sure, like for the last few decades that's definitely been an issue, but I definitely feel like in recent time, especially like TikTok, for example,
Mm-hmm.
has really kind of squeezed that pressure so much into like making like art that is so marketable. And I'm not at all saying that art that is marketable isn't good, like, but it's like everyone having to kind of conform with that really kind of squanders a lot of potential for artistic expression. Like, what if a band wants to write a really fucking great like 6 minute song, but they can't market that, like that kind of thing. That expectation to get that snappy kind of responsive attention grabbing, like just
well, if Bohemian Rhapsody was released today, it would flop.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but I get what you're saying.
Flop when it came out.
I don't know if it necessarily flopped when it came out. It was believed it wasn't going to be very popular. I know the label wasn't behind it, but the band basically insisted, and it went far better than I think the label ever expected it to. But yeah, but I see what you mean though, and I've seen like I've seen articles and videos talking about, well, the best way to make music now, if you're trying to blow up on like TikTok and these platforms, is write a bunch of choruses and put those on there, just the choruses, and then whichever ones do best, write the rest of the song to go with it, and then you release the whole. And I'm just like, that's so ass backwards. For music, and it kills the way that a lot of people want to write songs.
And then I always thought it went like because from what I've noticed, just off say Instagram and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, we got Spoons in the chat
the
here.
Best segment, or the best 30 seconds of your song, in a 3, 4, 5, 6 minute song, however you want to do it. You find that core, that real heavy hitter 30 seconds, and then use that. It doesn't stop you from writing your music, but at least that way, if it does go gangbusters on there and the link is onto that whole song, people will be more inclined to go and check out the rest of it.
Absolutely. And and there's nothing wrong with taking the best part of your song and utilizing that to be marketable. It's definitely
that's just the wise and smart thing to do. I mean, all of our releases, we run ad campaigns for them, and we take multiple sections of the songs and we like put those into separate ads to kind of experiment and see which ones are performing the best, and use that data to really kind of like expand on our campaign and make it stronger. So it's definitely smart. It's definitely smart to do it that way. I guess I just more so I guess I'm kind of commenting on how that enforces like a lot of songwriters to start conforming to a formula. I think one recent example of that formula being broken and having it still be wildly successful, which actually I think is absolutely beautiful, is that recent Sleep Token song that came out, that 6 minute one, The Summoning. How that went absolutely viral blows my mind.
Yeah.
And it's such a good fucking too.
Oh, pissed off a lot of old fans, from what I've heard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we got Spoons in the chat saying, even to the extent of TikTok kids buying out tours because they know 15 seconds of one song, and that kind of squanders the opportunity for genuine fans to go and see these bands. And I agree. I mean, I think it was I can never remember the name of the fucking band, but I know there was a band that toured, sort of last year, I think it was, and they had a song go viral on TikTok, and people came just to see that and like left after that song.
Yeah.
And so the other bands that were playing like played to a half empty thing because so many people just came for like one song by one band.
Wasn't that the I Prevail? And
I think so. Yeah.
That they were there for King for a Day.
I think that might have been the one. Yeah.
Oh, really? They went viral on TikTok, did they? Fucking
In,
crazy.
in the past like 6 months, it went off big
Yeah.
time.
So there was like there was a whole thing around, but that's definitely that genre of music where it happens. So it's very frustrating, and it does limit. And I guess, look, at the end of the day, there's one side going, well, okay, they paid for their ticket, they have the right to do what they want, which, okay, fair enough, but it's disheartening for the performers to see a half empty venue because everyone left because they saw the ones,
Like,
the
that's
15
the
seconds of the one song
actual-
they wanted to see.
That's the actual ramifications of this kind of culture that's being perpetuated
Yep.
through these media platforms. You know, like, that's
Yep.
the reality. And it's just
Your
like,
attention span's only good for 15 seconds.
yeah, exactly. And it's kind of crazy, you know, when people like doing all these, like, you know, TikTok dances, and like, you know, I've heard a lot of mentors say to people, create something that, and this is people who aren't in the metal scene. I've got a lot of friends who are like in pop and R&B and rap and all that kind of stuff, and more so in pop, R&B and rap. Do their managers say that, like, make something that has lyrics that people can make dances to, and have like something relatable, and, like, you know, and just be really like clear cut with like your lyrics, especially. So like they're telling you to basically shred all ambiguity and like all artistry and all metaphor, and just like be really straightforward and just create a dance to that. And, you know, it like it really compartmentalizes the way that people can create. And I think that, like, even though artists are still being supported by real people, it's just it's not what's happening. It's the culture that's being created and being perpetuated, you know?
Yeah.
And when you got managers and stuff actually telling people to do that, that's not good. You should be writing music for yourself, and hopefully it gets received by the populace.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What the fuck is the fun in life if you're just making shit for other people?
Well, if you're writing music that you don't feel and you don't believe in because it's music that's going to get popular, and how is that different from working any other job?
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's completely disingenuous and just inauthentic. And I think art, like, it's just so important for it to be an absolute reflection of what you want the art to be. And when that's being like messed with, like, for that purpose, like, of appeasing someone else's expectation instead of what you see the vision as, it's exactly that. It's inauthentic, and like, sure, like, it might perform extremely well for you and exceed your expectations on that front, but like, yeah, like, how good is it if you aren't completely satisfied with the art because of pressure? I actually know someone that I used to go to uni with that said that their manager has said to her that she really, really needs to up her TikTok game, and the last, like, I think like 6 months or so, like, the only thing that's been on her mind is TikTok. Like, it's insane.
Yeah, and that's the problem as well. It's influencing children. Like, we're adults. We live the lives we want to live because we've been through the bullshit. What it's really affecting is the malleable kids that are like the upcoming artists that are 15, 16 who are trying to create and, you know, make it in the industry. Like, if I was 15, 16 now, I would have gotten sucked right into that bullshit.
Yeah,
You know what
and
I mean?
they think
like,
that that's how the music industry works, and they just think that that's what you have to do to make music. They don't understand. And look, when we're 15, 16 years old as musicians, we all have these fucked up ideas about how the industry works. You know, we all think it works completely differently to how it does, and we just got to hope that people are able to learn the truth of it before they get pulled into something that, you know, causes too much trouble for them. Luke, what would you fuck off?
I don't know if you'd call this fucking it off or a change that should be made. But this actually, fuck off people trying to get shit for free from artists and, like, anyone that works in the music industry. Like, fuck doors off. Support them.
Yes.
Give them money.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yep.
If you look, this is the
No
thing.
If
you're friends with people that are in a band and you want to, you know, you like their stuff, buy their stuff.
Yeah, don't ask for a free CD. Don't be that person. Don't ask for a free shirt.
Yeah. you know, and
No.
like if you can't afford to buy stuff and you want to support them, there's ways to do that. You know, you interact with their posts, you comment, you share their posts, you show them to other people. You know,
Exactly.
you support them however you listen to their music on streaming platforms if you can't buy it. But it's just so essential to not try and think, oh, because I know them, I should get it for free. No, because you know them, you should be more willing to pay for it because you know
Yeah.
how hard they've worked for it and how much blood, sweat, and tears has gone into it.
The best way to
Yeah.
think of it is if you walked into if your mate had a restaurant, fair enough if you're there every week, you might be able to ask for a little bit of a discount, not free, discount. But mate, if you're there for the first time, you pay in full and show support. You do the right thing. You show them that
Yeah.
you want them to win.
And
Because
like,
those are the people you want around you.
yeah, and if you go and you go to your friend's gig and they say, hey, you know, oh, here have this for free or whatever. If they're offering it to you for free, that's one thing. That's one thing. They're obviously willing to give that away and absorb that cost. But I really like, you know, asking for it for free just because they're your friend is, you know, it's like, yeah, it's exactly like Kyle said there. You know, you don't want to be asking for mates rates like that because, and the same goes for musicians with producers, right? Like if you're a musician and you know someone who records music and you want to work with them, great. Don't expect to get it for free because you know them. Ask them, you know, hey, you know, what's your prices? And if their prices are too high for you, just say that. Say that. Like, you know, it's fine. Like, we're not, like, you know, like I'm out here trying to get my studio going as a side business, right? I'm still figuring out my pricing for stuff. So it's early doors. Prices are pretty low for now, right? But I still need to be paid for my work.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that's a big thing as well. Like, I think a lot of people, like, I've always had because I dealt with, God, I started 3 sentences at once. I've always dealt with that a lot. Like, a lot of people being like, put me on the door, and like, I had a pretty strict, like, no. I'm a bit of an ass sometimes, but like, I would just be like, no, people who are going to pay for my show are going to like be the people who, you know, like I want to generate fans. I want to generate people who actually want to pay for my shit. I want to like work hard for people to be like, I will go out and, you know, like at the end of the day, it sounds arrogant, but I don't need you to be there. I don't need anyone to be there. I'm doing it for me. And if people like it, they're going to pay for it. You know, if people want to hang out, if people want to see my show, they're going to pay for it. If I'm going to have a mate who I barely speak to hit me up for a door spot because they reckon they're supporting me by being in the crowd, which I've had a lot actually. Fuck that. No thanks.
Yeah.
No thanks.
Exactly.
I'll play for the people who fucking want to listen to me.
Yeah.
Like if there's no like, and I've had it happen to me before when I was playing the band stuff.
Yeah.
You play to no one. I've played to literally no one. I played to the security guard, the promoter, and his missus. Right? And I'd rather that than have a bunch of sponges hang on going, oh, I'll go for free.
I know the guy in the band. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You see right through the bullshit too, you know? It's just like, no. Shit, dude. Got a life to live.
The hangers on is the last thing that anyone needs. And
That's good.
And yeah, Spoons in the chat again, right on point. If you want to support your friends, help them out. Don't try and use them for their position for free merch and free entry for gigs. If anything, pay extra when you see the fuel bills for them to travel and so forth, which is absolutely true. I can tell you right now, like I don't know what you guys got paid for that Tamworth gig, but I'm guessing that between hotels and fuel, you didn't make money on it.
But they do pay well.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, it's not even, that's the thing. So many people go, oh yeah, but you know, it doesn't cost you that much to drive here and play the show. Well, okay, fucking got to bring all the gear, which we had to buy and pay for. Got to pay for all the rehearsal time. Got to pay for all of our time spent learning to play the instrument and learning music. All the blood, sweat, and tears we put in across the course of our lives trying to do this. And then, you know, to maybe get, as a group, a couple of $100 from a fucking venue after we play. Like,
exactly.
The
and like, you know, the day it's like it's all worth it for sure. Like, you know, exposure really is actually something that's, you know, really important. But
especially in
yeah.
our scene, far out, especially in the metal scene.
Oh,
People
yeah,
need to
definitely.
understand we didn't pick a plug and play genre. The reason why clubs and shit love DJ so much is because everything's on a USB. They have all the gear there for them majority of the time, and it's all house sound. You're dealing with one person. One person's a lot easier to deal with than which when we were when I was in the band, it was four people and me, the drunk fucking idiot.
Yeah, times 4 because there's multiple bands playing.
Yeah, and then you got like 20 people to worry about. You got to get like, and this is the thing. We did not pick the, and anybody listening to this needs to listen up hard. We are in the shittest money-making genre in the country. We have the smallest amount of one of the smallest populations, first off, and then we pick a genre that not many people like.
Yeah.
So it's like, we are. If anyone turns around and says we do this for clout, you're fucking wrong and you got no idea. Come to a year of shows with a band and play to no one, and then tell me what you think. Tell me what you think when you go, mate. And that's the thing, you know. They go, oh, so you know, but you get paid. No, this is exposure.
Yeah. It always blows my mind. Every time I'm in an office, you know, I've like worked a lot of office jobs in my life, and they find, oh, are you playing bands? What kind of stuff do you play? Right. And they'll, you know, inevitably the topic comes up, you know, when you play a gig. Oh, how much do you get paid for a gig? And I always put it back on them. I go, how much do you think I get paid?
Yeah.
And the answer is, without a doubt, people are like, oh, $1,000, $2,000. I'm like, in what fucking universe?
Yeah.
100%. Cover band.
Yeah, cover bands, unfortunately. I don't know if you've seen it on that. There's a page on Facebook that I follow called Things Local Musicians Do. And they are like vehemently anti-cover band. They're like, you only join a cover band once you've given up on life.
First page that I thought about when we got this discussion going. 100% love their shit.
Awesome. So there we have it. So cover bands getting paid inordinately more than originals bands. TikTok driving and social media driving the unfortunate revolution in songwriting pressures, and people trying to get shit for free instead of actually supporting the bands. Yeah, those are some good entries there. We're gonna, Kyle, we really need to go through the YouTube and clip all the fuck off files and put them in a playlist. I think because there's some good ones in there. Content is king, everybody. You can't just be doing a thing now. You have to be doing a thing and be a content creator.
Yep. 100%. Got to be a triple threat. Yeah, and you do all the music stuff, Raph, so.
All right. Well, I think it's time that we take it home. So, once again, thank you very, very much to Lauren, Matt, and Luke from AURATEQUE for coming on the podcast here. As we said, they just launched that Hurricane single, so we're going to be playing that one shortly, so make sure you stick around and watch that on the stream. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, that won't be there because we've got to take it off for copyright stuff, but go and listen to it. Keep an eye on it. Follow them on all the socials because I think this shit's going somewhere. I really, really do. Like,
thanks, man.
You know, I don't claim to be an expert. I just like the sound of my own voice, but I genuinely think like we have so many bands come through here, and it's amazing because like the music that's coming out right now in the like the rock and the metal scene, I really feel like it's the start of something. So many bands are coming out now.
Probably in like the best place it's been in a long time at the moment.
Exactly, and you know how like you know like in sort of the 90s and kind of into the 2000s, like rock and metal was kind of the king genre, other than like next to pop music, but we don't really count pop music because pop music is just whatever's popular. But anyway, rock and metal was kind of like the king of the thing there, and then it transitioned away to more like rap and hip hop and R&B kind of became that, and they became the rock stars. But I really feel like the shit that's on the bubble right now, it's a new wave. It really is, and the bands that I see coming up now, like I'm out there playing music with people that were born after I started playing music, and like the kids coming up today, they got so much better understanding of how the business works compared to what to what people like Kyle and I had when we were back that same age, and it's cooking. It really is cooking. So people need to get in now on the ground floor, and I really, really think it's going somewhere, and you guys especially. Like, you've definitely got something about it, and I definitely want to try and come out and catch you guys on the tour in May. So go on all the socials, follow them, get all the details for that tour in May. Go and check out Hurricane. But just before we take it home, want to give once again quick shout out again to CJ and local band Smokeout. If you haven't already, go follow that. If you're a band, go and submit your videos. Pardon?
The Tournament of Champions this Saturday, which is Australia, the best Australian bands versus the best Japanese bands.
Ooh, okay.
You can go over and they're going to have a head-to-head. So make sure you check it out. 4:20 Sunday over on Twitch. Local band Smokeout Australia.
Yep.
Yeah.
And as I said, if you're a local band, keep an eye on when they do submissions, because you can get your video out there, get it seen by a bunch of people. And yes, once again, as we said, the reason Kyle is traveling today is because he will be at Gymna 2023. So if you were going to be up there, make sure you find him. Look, like I said, he'll have a beer in one hand, several in his system, and a camera in his other hand. So I'm sure he'll be willing to chat with you. And keep an eye out for the winner of our competition, Bones from Disgust, who's going to be running around as well.
I'll find him.
You'll find him. Don't worry, mate. You'll find him.
All right. I'll find him without his mask on, no?
It will. I'm sure you can just inbox him and coordinate. You'll be right.
Yeah.
Before we let you guys go, is there anything else you want to plug?
Nah. Come to our tour in May. And us on all of our social media platforms, please.
Wonderful.
Follow us on all the socials. Check us out on tour. Come into a city near you if you live in Melbourne, Sydney, or Brisbane. A little like us to spare.
All right. Well, you guys, AURATEQUE guys, you stick around once I kick us over to the video, because we'll have a brief debrief. There you go. But we'll have a brief chat after we go off the air. But thank you again, everybody, for tuning in. As we always say, the world's pretty rough out there, so we need to look out for ourselves and each other. Be kind to yourselves. Massive shout out to Spoons for being active in the chat and for the follow there.
Hey, Spoons.
Also, thank you again to Killer and Funk Effect for jumping on that follow train as well. And we're about to kick it over to the video once I find where the fuck the video is. And oh shit, all right, cool. I think we're good to go. So I'm gonna be playing that one. Spoon says, "One day they might know who I am." All right, guys.
One of the guys that follows us with a Joker profile picture. There's a few here.
Thank you so much. We're out of here. It's been awesome, and thank you once again to AURATEQUE for that one. Peace out, everyone.